Good morning, guys. It's nice and early here in Portugal, and it's so incredibly easy to wake up in the mornings when the sun is bursting through your van window. I'm already in a t-shirt, it's lovely and warm, and it's going to be another glorious day. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who left really positive comments on our previous video all about the BBC TV documentary that we are a part of and are going to be in. That's all very exciting. You guys are excited to see it as well. We have actually seen nothing, so they don't show it to us before it goes out. So we will watch at the same time as you guys, which is slightly nerve-wracking, but it should be good fun. And we haven't got a final date. A lot of you guys have been asking, when is it going to come out? But it's looking like it's going to be the end of January, which we can't wait for.
Look outside, painted skies, here comes the light. It's in your eyes, and it pulls the ocean tides.
My favourite part of the day? Drinking a coffee. It is the best part of any day, and the whole reason I get out of bed is purely for coffee. And I know the title of this video will have drawn you in because we've been doing a lot of research, because you might not know, but you probably do. We're shipping our van to Canada in literally a few months. And some of the research has brought us to think, should we actually sell our van? And I know that sounds kind of drastic, and we'll talk about it a bit later, but right now we need to get on with some off-grid duties, which involves the generator.
So this is probably a good time to update you guys on how our solar is doing on our van, and it's actually doing really well. We haven't plugged the generator in for over a week now, which is really good. The winter sun, it's a lot lower, so it skirts around, so you really don't get the maximum output from the solar panel. I think the max we get at the moment is about 157 watts max per day in terms of the max coming in at one time, but it can be a lot more than that. We've seen up to 300 watts with this panel in pure sunlight in the summer. So I'm going to fire up the Jenny and just top the batteries up. It's always good to keep them topped up as well for maintenance. And this generator is my favourite. This is the Honda, what is it, the E10i, and it's really good. 1000 watt generator, and it always fires up first go. You ready? So I've just checked the Victron app, which is always really useful to see what state your batteries are in, how much solar you're getting. And actually today we're getting 164 watts coming in via the solar panel. And to be honest, I probably don't even need to use a generator today because it's not even midday and I'm pulling in a good amount of solar. By the end of the day, they'll probably be mainly topped up, but the generator is just a good way of topping them up quickly, because tonight I've got a load of editing I want to get done, and B's going to want to use her laptop as well. So 2 laptops on the go with a fridge and all the other stuff we need to charge. It's probably a good idea.
I'm sorry, but Ginjey's taken your seat. So this is a world first. I do not like this sofa. I don't know if you guys remember us finding this sofa at the side of a road last year, but I've never been a big fan of it, and Theo actually put it out on the deck, didn't you, about a week ago, and this is the first time I've sat on it, and it's actually really comfy.
It's literally my vibe. Coming out here in the morning, sitting with my breakfast and just looking at the view with the sun shining on my face. There's nothing better.
It is nice, and also another thing about sitting outside just here is it's a perfect place to work, and I've done a lot of our planning for the next leg of our adventure from here, because there's so much to think about, there's so much to do. It's not as simple as when we went over to Europe, and even that is not mega simple because you've got to think about health insurance and van insurance, but this time we've got a whole load of different stuff that we have to prepare for. So
I literally haven't spoken to Bea for like a week because she's been in the van on her laptop trying to figure out how we are going to get the van to Canada.
And the cat and us and everything else.
There's a lot of planning, and obviously we've travelled a lot of Europe before in our van, and generally really easy because there's no visas or any time limits really.
Yeah,
So
compared to this, I feel like it's a lot easier. But everything that you want to do in life, you should do it. Even if it's a little bit tricky and you've got to figure out what you're doing, there's no point just being like, I'm not going to do it actually because it's tough.
And later on in this video, we're actually going to go through all of the costs that it's going to cost to ship to Canada, get ourselves flights, Ginjey, like insurance, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to go over that later in the video.
So I'm just walking down to grab some oranges, and I know that in the last video I made some orange juice and it tasted really bitter, but actually the oranges eaten on their own are really tasty. And I wanted to also say a massive thank you to Skillshare, who have sponsored today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with loads of classes designed for real life, so you can expand your creativity without having to put your life on hold. Now, me and Theo are full-time YouTubers and we're self-employed, which means productivity is top of our priority for us, which is why we've been doing one of Skillshare's classes in order to really expand our knowledge on that subject. So we've been doing Real Productivity, How to Create Habits That Last class. We're always trying to improve and learn. After all, life is all about growth, and we can't think of a better place to expand our knowledge than at our own pace through this online class. There's a large range of classes from illustration to lifestyle. What you can find just might inspire you. So click the link in the description to get 2 free months of premium membership and explore your creativity. After all, it's a new year, new lessons, new things to be learned.
Don't fall asleep. Don't wake up from this.
Got you an orange.
Whoa!
That was really hard to throw with one hand.
An orange a day keeps the doctor away. Seems to be working so far. We need to talk about the question that everyone is here for, and that is, should we sell our van?
Now, I know a few years ago when we did actually discuss between ourselves about going to the US, because we really have always wanted to drive around the US for a long time. We were like...
We've done it, but only kind of like 3 weeks at a time. It's just not long enough to see anything, really.
We've always wanted to go for at least 6 months at a time and all that kind of stuff. And looking at visas and things, which is something we'll talk about visas later, but you can get 6 months. So the thought of being able to be in the USA in our own van was much more appealing than being in maybe buying a van and doing it ourselves or getting a motorhome out there.
There's so many pros and cons, and for us, we spent so much time, we spent so much money and effort investing in this vehicle and making it into our home, that to just sell it right now and buy a new one and start all over again in another continent just doesn't make sense.
No, but there was a very brief period of time, a couple of weeks ago actually, when I was doing research about shipping the van to Canada. I left a question in one of the many different Facebook groups that I'm in, and someone had said, before you ship your van, before you even think about buying the shipping, whatever it is, what would be the word, before you think about actually shipping it, before you buy that,
Check
you need
insurance.
you need to make sure you can actually insure your vehicle over there. And before that, I'd thought it'll be super simple, whatever, it's easy. But
Yeah, you just phone up, get insurance,
yeah,
done. It's not as easy as that.
no, so in the last couple of years, apparently, a lot of overlanders, a lot of people who have been travelling over to North America have really struggled to actually get insurance for their vehicle. But thankfully, a couple of the different shipping companies that I've got quotes from gave me loads of different contact details for a couple of different insurance companies who can actually insure us. So it was really touch and go for a minute, because if you can't insure your vehicle out there, obviously we weren't going to bring it and we would have had to sell the van, which was not what we had planned. And I would have just totally thrown a spanner in the works and did really freak me out for a bit. So when this whole thing, there's been a lot of learning, a lot of stuff to figure out, but now we know that. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, North America, we've figured it out. New Zealand and Australia, it also can be done, but it's very expensive. So
we shall see.
they're the kind of countries that when it comes to shipping to them, we need to weigh up the pros and cons. We need to check how much it's actually going to cost. And then we decide whether we sell the van and start again over there.
Yeah, so also wanted to say, because I know we're going to get a lot of questions about things, when we do finally get insurance, when we do finally book our shipping, which we will be doing very soon.
The next few days.
Yeah, we are going to tell you guys all about it, everything that it involves. We are going to do blog posts and all that kind of stuff as well.
Because we've had to do a lot of learning. We've had to dig through so much stuff on the internet. And this is what I really like about Tread the Globe as well. They are documenting everything from start to finish about driving around the world. So there's loads of good information on their channel.
Yeah, big up Tread the Globe.
Exactly. And we're trying to, just make it easier for other people who follow in our footsteps and don't have to dig through all of that information. You can find it a lot easier in a couple of videos.
So it was looking like we were going to have to, but we're not. We're not selling our van. Not in the near future anyway. We put so much time and effort, spent a whole year, well, not a whole year, but it felt like a whole year converting it. We've only been living in it for just over a year, and I'm not ready to part from it just yet.
So we're just out on a nice evening stroll around the land, and the light is so gorgeous this evening.
This is hippie TV at its finest.
Right, let's get serious and talk some figures, because I know you guys are here to know how much it's going to cost to ship this van we are currently sitting in, a long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter, all the way to Canada from the UK.
I've got the figures on my laptop here because we've had a lot of questions, and understandably we've asked people how much it costs them to ship their van across the Atlantic. And for us, because it's measured on basically the total dimension of your van, so it's the length of the van times the height of the van times the width of the van.
And these aren't set in stone, these are just quotes that we've had.
Yeah.
We're actually going to book in the next couple of days, so we're very excited about that. But these are just quotes so far.
Yeah, so when it's all booked and we've got it all, whatever, we
do another
can
one.
do a 100% accurate one. But for now, our quote that we've had off a few different ones, the average and the cheapest quote, actually, not the average, is about £2,300. So,
which I don't think is bad at all. To ship this van, it's a big van, all the way to Canada. That's a long way.
Oh, it's also worth saying, in case you weren't aware, our van is way too big to go in a container, so it is going to be roll on, roll off, and we're going to go through all about the pros and cons of row-row.
What's it? Yeah, row-row. It makes me laugh every time they say, yes, it's row-row you want to do. I'm like, ha, that's funny.
So we'll be going through all of that in a later video, otherwise this will be the longest video of all time. So what's next?
And then shipping us. It's not really shipping, we're going to be flying, and we are going to fly from England to Toronto, because that's the only flight we can get with our cat, which is what we'll come on to in a little while. But for us, it's probably about £500.
Yeah, it's £500. It's a one-way flight, and that's just it, basically. So
there are going to be other costs, because we need to get from Toronto to Halifax, which is about 1,000 miles. So we need to figure out how we get there. So we will have a cat with us, so it might be easier just to jump on a train than fly.
Yeah, it seems the cheapest, and I suppose the less stressful for Ginjey, because she won't have to go on another plane. And talking about Ginjey, because I've had so many people ask, is Ginjey going to go with us?
Of course she is.
Yes,
we're
she
not going to
definitely
leave her
is.
behind. She's part of our family.
She is part of our family. She is the Indie Project, and she's so important to us.
Just her.
Well, yeah, basically. We're just like her followers. I know that we love her. I don't know if she loves us, but we definitely love her. And so this is where it got a bit confusing, because I know you can fly with animals with you on a plane. I've seen people doing it in America. I've seen people doing it loads of places, actually. And when I called up a few different airlines, they all basically said no. And that led us to think that we could only bring Ginjey with us on a plane across to Canada if she went in the hold.
Exactly. And we got some quotes and we were horrified.
Yeah.
You're talking like well over £1,000 to send Ginjey on a plane on her own in the hold.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's not something we really wanted to do, but if we have to, we would have had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was way out of what we'd planned for our budget, but when you break it down, that included organising everything for Ginjey, creating a crate for her to go in.
They called it like a first class service.
Yeah, it was like the optimum one.
They have like a chaperone who helps them along and feeds them cat biscuits.
But when I was researching it and seeing how other people's experience were, I mean, I know that the people can try their absolute hardest to make the animals feel happy, but the thought of Ginjey being on the tarmac, waiting to be loaded underneath the plane, and she might be in there with a dog.
She's just terrified of dogs.
I just couldn't do that.
Yeah, and if dogs are barking the whole time in the hold because they're scared, then Ginjey's going to be scared, and it's not going to be a nice experience for her.
So then I started looking at loads of different ways to get to Europe to fly with Ginjey, because...
And that's when I said that I didn't speak to Bea for like a week, because she was like, my cat is coming with me on the plane, and she figured it out.
Just so people know, you cannot go with a cat on a boat or Eurostar, just you on foot with them. I did actually manage to find one boat. Yeah, I found one boat that went to like Dieppe or somewhere where we could then get a train to Paris and fly from Paris together, because I was like, what airlines... Basically, it's boring. I went around loads of different circles figuring it out, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to call another airline, I'm just going to give it a whirl, see what happens. And they said, yeah, your cat can go with you from the UK to Canada as long as it's a direct flight to Canada. So you'd have to fly to Toronto, you can't fly to Halifax, that would have to be organised separately once you get in Canada. And I was like, are you serious? Because everyone's told me no, and they're like, no, you can't fly back to the UK with her in the cabin with you, but you can fly with her in the cabin with you to Canada.
Which is amazing.
I was so happy, and the cost...
for the grand cost of an extra, what, £60?
£60. Now, that's not all the different paperwork that you need organised. To get an animal into Canada, it seems pretty simple. They just need to make sure they're vaccinated against rabies and have a microchip.
But that £60 is basically they go in a travel bag under your seat or under your feet.
They are your carry-on luggage, and they have to go underneath the chair in front of you for the whole flight.
But this is Ginjey Bear, and she only travels first class, so we brought her a brand new first class ticket. No, I'm joking. She's got the economy £60 ticket.
She'll be coming with us, so that'll be economy standard.
But yeah, there's other costs like customs once you get to Canada that. Them costs are unknown at the moment. We need to do a little bit more research and speak to the company, but it's not crazy amount of money.
No, it won't be. And apparently it's a lot easier to release your vehicle from customs if it's row versus container shipping.
Yeah.
So we can talk all about that on another video. And if that's all the costs for now. So
there are going to be a lot more costs. Things like actual insurance for when you get to Canada.
Health insurance.
You know, driving to the States. Yeah, you got health, travel insurance. So it all adds up, but it's going to be one hell of an adventure, and we're so excited. And to bring you guys along with us. So we will keep updating you guys.
If there's anything you want to know, always leave it in the comments below, and we will try and address it or answer it in the comments, whatever. If we get loads of the same question, we'll answer it in a video.
But yeah, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Me neither.
But yeah, keep watching, because we've got so many more good videos on the way, and we'll see you on the next one.